Hi Jamie, you did a nice job with your photo series. Having something that you feel is iconic that represent each of the different cities in the Tri-City area, definitely a good idea for your approach. Certainly the Uptown is one of the, is the oldest mall in the Richland area, and so that's a good choice. I think this mural is actually new since I've been there, and so I enjoyed seeing that for that reason. It actually looks like they've been spending a little bit of effort in updating the building, which is definitely nice to see. For this image, what we see here is a little bit of a keystoning effect, and what happens is when you tilt your camera angle up to get the top of a building, then we get this appearance of the lines kind of coming together in a way that isn't exactly natural. It's definitely something that we can edit after the fact, and one of the easiest ways to do that is the perspective crop tool here in Photoshop. And so if we use that just like a regular crop tool and select around it, then what we do is we take one of the corners and we just go ahead and slant in the top or bottom, wherever it needs it, until those little grid lines are parallel with the main lines. So this is going to be pretty close right here, and as you can see that this line here also has a little bit of an angle, so we'll move that in a little bit too. And when we click the check mark, we can see how that straightens up pretty well. You see that kind of before and the after. Overall exposure is really nice. Your color balance is really nice. We get some nice blue skies, even though you said you had some rain during some of your shoots. Clover Island, definitely a great place to visit and take pictures. The lighthouse, definitely a nice iconic place. One of the things that might benefit from this image is a little bit more contrast. And so for this one, I'm using a curves adjustment layer and giving a nice little S curve where we increase the highlights and decrease the shadows a little bit. And you can see how it just makes the colors really pop, and it makes it have just kind of a more complete and a more polished look about it. A little bit of contrast is usually a good thing for landscape photos. I think we can do the same thing here. And if you're editing images at the same, or from a shoot at the same time, one of the things you can do is actually move your adjustment layers from one image to the next. Just we click and we drag it on there. And so you can see that this is the exact same edit from the last image, and it does a pretty good job for this one as well. It makes sense that they would have a similar sort of need for a contrast, because of course I assume you photograph these at the same time, and I mean obviously they're only, I don't know, half a mile apart at the most, and so you expect the lighting condition to be very consistent. Finally, the courthouse. Again, we see some angles here. So first of all, it looks like you had your camera rotated a little bit, so we don't have a very straight horizon line. Again, we have that little bit of a tilt. And for an image like this, what I'd recommend is, it looks like you were on the near side of the sidewalk. If you actually go across the street to the little park that's on the opposite side, we get a much better look at the building, but then also, I think more importantly, the copper dome, which is a very important and iconic part of that building. This image here, I think, could also use a little bit of contrast. Now, of course, we don't have any blue sky for this one because the weather wasn't agreeable, but you can see how the windows really pop, and how the pillars really kind of pop compared to the rest of the brick. And you can see just that little bit of a difference really makes a lot of impact. Again, I would say that we could do the perspective crop tool and really kind of try to bring this into a correct perspective, not only with these lines, it seems like it's leaning back, but also straighten the horizon line. Overall, I think great choice for concept. Your images were generally well exposed. A few little tweaks as you are photographing them, as you hold your camera, can go a long way. And then really a little bit of post-processing can give your images that final polish that makes them look as good as they possibly can. Let me know if you have any questions.